uh, why, how, and what is the reason to start a talk show online and why it's going to help your personal brand in 2020 and beyond. We're helping you to make the internet your friend, not your enemy. Personal branding is just a phrase. It doesn't mean anything. All it means is 21st century communications. You're going to want to come on back, y'all. Don't miss this episode. This one you don't want to miss. If you want to elevate your career, if you want to grow your business, if you want to make more money, I am living proof that this works, and we're going to talk about it right now. Come on back. Welcome everybody to Nez Nation Live. How are you doing this Thursday evening, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 Eastern Time? Come on in. I'm monitoring the comments. It's great to see you. I am Professor Nez, your personal branding coach, helping you to build a standout brand so you can earn more, grow faster, and stress less in 2020 and beyond. The name of today's show and the topic of today's show, and I'd love to hear where you're coming from. Let me know where you're joining us from. How to start a talk show online to build your personal brand. I am bringing you some unbelievable, free, hugely valuable information today. You don't want to miss this. I really would love for you to stick around. If you're watching this on the replay, let me know in the comments down below where you're joining from and let me know what you think of these tips. You're not going to want to miss this. If you're new to who I am Professor Nez, personal branding coach. I run two businesses, an agency where we help companies, individuals, and brands build their online reputation. And I also have an online academy. Hello, Beyond the Box Academy. Some of the greatest digital products, digital courses that are helping you get to the next level. And I'm also a business writing professor at several universities here in Southern California. So I pretty much do it all. And I love coming online and going live and hanging out with you guys, Nez Nation. It means the world to me. How do you like my new studio? Let me know how you like my new studio. It took me all week to build it. I am just exhausted. I have never used more bolts, hammers, nuts, you name it. Oh man, it was trying. So I want to, right off the bat, I don't want to waste any time. It's good to see you, Modern Day Tech. Good to see you, Luis. Ahmed's in the house. Hey, Seti, good to see you over on YouTube. LinkedIn, let me know where you're at as well. If you're watching on Periscope, we've got Instagram. We've also got Instagram coming live as well, so it's really exciting to have you all. You know Professor Nez, I go live all over the place. Personal branding. I know that phrase means really nothing to a lot of you guys, or at least maybe it's been tossed around so much, I'm even kind of getting sick of the phrase as well. You've got to understand something. I was going to start off the show by saying that, it really depends. I mean, do you really need to build a personal brand in 2020 and beyond? I mean, isn't that really just, reserved for business owners or, thought leaders or influencers? Incorrect. I would say it's absolutely, positively incorrect. I would say even if you think that you're comfortable at your job right now, you're comfortable being the VP of marketing, or you're comfortable being the VP of sales, or you're comfortable being a project manager, or whatever, I would say it is absolutely tantamount to your success to build a personal brand in the 21st century. Why? Because I want you to be Netflix, not Blockbuster. Blockbuster thought the same thing. The main stage, y'all, the main kind of, venue for everything that's happening in the 21st century and beyond, 2020 and beyond, is happening on this thing called the internet. We are transacting business. We are banking. We are dating. We are getting married. We are building communities, building friendships, building relationships, networking, buying our necessities, our everyday bare necessities online, transacting. I mean, you name it, this is where it's happening. Recruiting, hiring, right? So customers, clients, employers, they're all going on this thing called the internet. My job is to make the internet your friend. My job is to make the internet work for you, not against you. That's personal branding. It's 21st century communications, period. Share this out, y'all. You're not going to want to miss this. I come from a long history of creating talk shows. I've hosted many podcasts, many live stream shows. Sometimes I refer to myself as a live stream nut job because, let's face it, I pretty much am. I mean, look at this face. Does this face look sane to you? Don't answer that. I love creating content, and I advocate for my clients, and I advocate for my students, and I advocate for everybody to create content. Why? Because creating content three-dimensionalizes who you are. If you feel that the internet has nothing to do with you, that is a blockbuster mentality. And so I want to kind of start with the fundamentals. Forget about even the phrase personal branding. This is just 21st century communications. Who are you? Why should I pay attention to you? How can you solve my problem? Period. That's it. And so today I'm going to talk to you about a way to create that reputation, a way to create that personal brand, a way to create and three-dimensionalize what value you can bring to your customers, to your clients, to your employer. This is not just exclusive to business owners. This is not just exclusive to content creators. This is not just exclusive to solopreneurs or consultants and coaches and freelancers. This is for you sitting in that cubicle, maybe not right now, but maybe you were an hour and a half ago, thinking, you know what, I'm an assistant, manager. I'm a project manager. I'm a, supply chain consultant. I don't need to worry about the internet. Yes, you do. Because I'm going to share a stat with you right now that you may not believe or not verify this in the real world. 92%. This is for you. You guys, you want to, do you want to make more money? Do you want to not worry about, did you guys know that 72%, and let me know where you're joining from, because I know I've got an international audience too. Did you know that 72% of Americans, I'm in the US, 72% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck? Holy macadamia nut, that is a crime, y'all. That is an absolute crime. This will help. This will help. Nez, what does building and starting a talk show have to do with me not living paycheck to paycheck? Everything. Absolutely everything. And I'm going to connect all the dots. But I just want to give you some context. This is Netflix mentality. I don't want you to be Crown Books. I want you to be Amazon. I don't want you to be Target. I honestly think Target's going to get acquired by Amazon probably. Everybody's going to get acquired by Amazon. Sooner or later. I don't want you to be Blockbuster. I don't want you to be Crown Books. I don't want you to be and really these are just metaphors. I don't want you to be these antiquated systems, these antiquated ways of thinking for your career and your business. What's going on over there on YouTube? What problems do we have here? Let's see here. Oh, hey, thank you so much, Flash in your pan. Yeah, I'm so sorry. For some reason, Flash just gave us a $2 super chat on YouTube. Thank you so much, Ed. Dr. Ed Marvin. How are you, sir? Sorry about that, buddy. I'm sorry I missed that. Yeah, thank you so much. Midnight Madness says, let me pull this comment up. I love this. This is a great comment. Midnight Madness on YouTube says, the same percentage hates their job too. So if I'm not mistaken, very close to the same percentage. Absolutely. Absolutely. Nez, what does creating a talk show, what does starting a talk show have to do with me being able to feed my family, me being able to have a little bit of just a breather maybe with, financial situations? How is this going to help me? Well, I'm going to bust it for you. I am going to break it down for you, and it's going to make complete sense. But the first things first is that I want you to understand the psychology of not only human beings in general today, but the people who are going to give you that paycheck, the people who are going to pay that invoice, the people who are going to put that mighty, mighty dollar in your bank account. You have to understand the psychology. When I say 92% of employers search online, your online reputation, your social media profiles during the interview process, what do you think that percentage parallels to consumers? How do you think consumers do it, right? So personal branding is three-dimensionalizing who you are. And I have a perfect case study right now. And this literally just happened not that long ago. And then I want to talk to you a little bit more about branding, because I think branding, people get this idea that branding is logos and fancy colors and cool designs, and it's only like a graphic design, the yellow arches. That's just one. That's not even the tip of the iceberg. I'd say that's a very small part of it. That's a very small part of it. Branding is your reputation. Branding is your name and your word. Branding is that impression that you leave in that individual's mind, in that individual's memory. That's what branding is. Here's a perfect example. When I think of the brand BMW, and I just literally had this happen on the way back from the gym today. When I think of the brand BMW, I literally think a-hole. That's exactly what I think. When I don't think I've ever met anybody, when I've been on the road, I will never buy a BMW, ever. I don't care how good. I love German design. My wife's German. I love German design. I love German engineering. I actually don't have the same problem that I do with Mercedes-Benz. But I will never buy a BMW. Why? Because every single person that I've ever come across on the road that has a Beamer has been an absolute capital J jerk. Now, does that mean they're all jerks? Of course not. But that's just the brand that leaves, that's the impression it leaves in my mind. Case in point, this literally happened on my way back to the gym. Roger Wakefield, so good to see you. Edith Guarana is on LinkedIn Live. Share this out. You're going to want to share this out, Edith. This is going to help you with your career search. This is going to help you with your job search. This is going to help you build your business. This is going to help you build your small, medium business, your large business. This is going to help you get your message out there. Even if you're not in this, even if you're comfortable in your business, even if you're comfortable in your position that you're all right now, you're not searching for anything new. You don't want to grow. You don't want to scale. You have plenty of money in the bank. Why do you think, I do too. Why do you think I'm still doing this? Well, A, I love it. I truly do love it. But B, because I know how vital it is. And I know my competitors are doing it. And I know that this is an imperative. This is absolutely imperative for me to stay relevant, for me to stay current. And it's the best way to demonstrate your capital V value. Hello. It just is. On my way back to the gym today, there was a guy behind me, and he had a brand new Beamer, fancy red Beamer. I mean, it was like it was probably a 2019, easily a 2019 Beamer, I think. And he's got some loud music, kind of really bad, maybe techno music going on in the background. And, it was really, really loud. And something in my head just told me, oh man, this guy, I guarantee you this guy is going to go about 100 miles an hour and just totally go past me right when this light turns green. And sure enough, as soon as the light turned green, what'd this guy do? And I'm not a slow driver by any means. I mean, I got stuff to do. I was actually trying to get here quick so I could start this live stream, right? I had to go do a few laps, before coming here. It just gets me really pumped up. It gets me, everybody has their routine, right? It gets my blood going, my blood cooking. So what happened? Not only did he cut me off and basically turbo out of the red light, but he cut off some other poor lady in a van that was in the left lane. He went in the middle lane. I was in the right lane, and he easily, because I looked at my odometer, I was going about 55. He easily was going 85 in a 45, and just boom, just gone with the wind, and just not using his turn signal. I think BMW should change their slogan. I really do. And I think, let's bring some honesty to advertising. And this is a crucial component of personal branding, capital A, authenticity. I think BMW should change their slogan. If you're a jerk, buy our cars. We have the perfect vehicle for you. Now, same token. So when I think of BMW, I think of a-holes. When I think of car insurance, I think of cavemen. Why is it that when I think of car insurance, I think of cavemen? And what company am I talking about, guys? What company am I talking about? When I think of car insurance, I think of cavemen. What company am I talking about? The world misses Waylon Jennings. You better believe it. Flash says, I'll take a Porsche over a Beamer any day. Yeah, same here. Ruben Gutierrez, good to see you. Nez Nation welcomes you. Chale Dogs in the house. Make sure you smash that smash button. Make sure you share this out, y'all, because this is going to be a jam-packed, brain-busting piece of content for yo. Yes, Charlie Dog is right. Let me bring that comment up on the chat. Charlie Dog called it. It is Geico. That's right. You are absolutely right. Thank you, Modern Day Tech. Modern Day Tech nailed it too. There it is. Geico. Geico. Yeah. And you know what is really funny is I actually bought Geico insurance a couple of years ago. I bought Geico insurance. That's branding. Branding is the impression that you leave, the reputation that you have. It's the feeling that people have. I think I could be misquoting this, but I even think Jeff Bezos called, personal branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room. What people say about you when you're not in the room. And so I wanted to just kind of really give a sort of oversight or overview, kind of big picture of how this has been going on. Personal branding is just a term now that's congruent with how you and I don't have to go through the normal channels because we have these amazing inventions, we have these amazing platforms, we have these amazing LinkedIn Live, YouTube Live, we have these amazing tools at our fingertips that we can actually three-dimensionalize ourselves as well. We don't have to get too crazy funky in the tech, because I know why most of you guys are not three-dimensionalizing yourselves. I know why most of you guys are not. Why am I pointing at you? I know why most of you guys, I'll stop pointing, sorry, are not creating content because you feel that, who am I to create a 2-minute, 3-minute video about my expertise? Who am I to create a talk show? What's that going to do for me? Create a talk show? I don't have the tech wherewithal. I don't have the personality. I'm not like hyper crazy and gesticulating and all over the place and hyper animated like Professor Nez. Guess what? You don't have to be. Not even close. Well, Nez, I want to get back to that. And by the way, if you have any questions for me, please leave them in the chat. Matthew Mitchell, thank you so much on LinkedIn. Good to see you. Edith Guarana, a client of mine. How are you, Edith? It's so good to see you. Make sure you share this out because this is going to be some brain-busting content. I'm going to open up your dome and have you see a whole new perspective. How I built a multiple six-figure business with my personal brand. And if you look at my followers and my subscriber count on many of my channels and platforms, except for LinkedIn, I've got almost 20,000 followers on LinkedIn, which I've worked my butt off on LinkedIn. I've been on LinkedIn for over 10 years. But hey, you see on YouTube, I've got 2,300 subscribers, 2,400 subscribers. Wait a minute. How were you able to build a multiple six-figure business without having 1 million subscribers? I'm going to show you, I'm going to talk to you, and I'm going to tell you about it right now. So share this out, keep on tuning in, and you can do this too. Yes, you can do this too. Simon Ogezi, how are you? Good to see you. Welcome on LinkedIn Live. Roger, I will definitely see you in 2 weeks. I am going to be at the premier online video marketing conference, Vid Summit in Los Angeles. Mr. Roger Wakefield, the expert plumber, who is a fantastic live streamer himself. We've got some amazing live streamers in the chat on YouTube. I mean, Flash in Your Pan, Dr. Ed Marvin has an unbelievable live stream. Charlie Dog is a great creator. Modern Day Tech, Eric, has a great channel. We've got some great people, in the chat. So make sure you go check these guys out. Hey, Kraken Place, stay here. Stick around. You might learn something, eh? Stick around, will you? Flash in your pan. Okay, good to see you. So thank you so much, Simon. Make sure you share this out. I'm going to share with you. You see, the thing that most people get wrong, whoops, I gotta watch out for my green tea. It's gonna fall all over the place. So we talked a little bit about the fundamentals of branding. We talked about what is personal branding. Just quite simply, it's 21st century communications. Don't think that don't think that you're not supposed to make the internet your friend. And what's going on the internet is literally everything. Commerce, communication, networking, hiring, recruiting, banking, everything is happening online. It's the same reason why Amazon owns the world. It's the same reason why Netflix has Hollywood running scared. You have to understand that this is the landscape. This is the context where everything is happening. And if you want to elevate your career and you want to grow your business and you want to maybe even form a little side hustle so you can get some extra $2,000-$3,000 a month. And by the way, let me know in the chat, let me know in the comments if you're interested in me creating more content about kind of just straight up, how do I get more money on the side? How do I leverage these many different avenues and revenue streams that you do, Nez, like affiliate marketing, like passive income? How do you do that, Nez? How are you able to monetize your content? Let me know in the chat, and I would love to make some videos about that. I'm actually going to I was thinking about doing an entire 2020 beginner's tutorial on Facebook ads, because Facebook ads is a great way to get your brand out there. LinkedIn, I love LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is probably the only place left on planet Earth where you can get any sort of organic reach. If you're trying to build a brand or build a presence and build an online reputation that gets you money and actually build your ethos, you're going to have to think about some paid traffic in tandem with organic content. So you got paid content that you put some money behind it, and then you've got some organic content that you create on a consistent basis. Okay? And I'm going to make some more videos about that because it works. Here's a case in point. My podcast. The whole name of this show is How to Start a Talk Show Online, Personal Branding Strategies 2020. I just very, very recently, this just happened, and there's a million other instances and similar exact occurrences such as this. I literally just had a client not that long ago buy probably, I think it's my second highest ticket item coaching package that I sell. So it was a very high ticket item, high ticket coaching package that this client bought. And she literally, this is case in point, I'm living proof that this stuff works. She literally got like 5 or 6, 7 proposals from other, personal branding coaches. And she Googled each one. This is how it works, y'all. She Googled each one and she found that, gosh, that got rid of about 6 or 5 of them right there because they didn't even have anything. They didn't even have a website. They didn't even have a website, let alone a strong LinkedIn profile, let alone a strong Facebook business page, let alone a Twitter presence, let alone any type of video or audio or written content that really demonstrated who they are. So she got rid of 5 or 6 right there. That just left 2, me and somebody else. And so this other branding coach or executive career coach had some content, had a website, did some videos, but then when she got to me, she was like, there was no competition. Not only did Nez have a sea of content, online that really clearly brought a lot of value, but she actually checked them out. And she listened to one of my podcasts. And this is a podcast I recorded months ago. And you know what she said to me? This is what she said to me. She said, this was the moment where I said, oh, it clicked. It just clicked. I'm going to hire this guy. She heard me say one sentence in a podcast that it hit her. It resonated with her. You guys, remember, this is not a subscriber. This is not a follower. This is not, somebody this isn't warm traffic. Okay. This is very, very cold traffic. She knew nothing about me. She listened to my podcast, and there was one line that I said in there, and she said, as soon as you said that, she said, obviously she was getting a lot of value from the podcast, but she said, that one thing that you said And about 30 minutes into that one, God knows how long ago podcast that I executed, she said, that was my aha moment. This is the guy I'm going to hire. This stuff works. You never know who's watching. You never know who's listening. So the first thing that I'm trying to say, that why how you can make really, really good money, not forget business, even for your career. I'm going to tell you about that as well. Is that you're demonstrating? Is that you're it's not about that you're looking at the wrong metrics. Most of us are looking at likes, views, subscribers. We're looking at the wrong metrics. Okay? I don't have a million, 6 million. I'm going to get there. You know Nez is going to get there. I don't have 1 million subscribers. I don't have even 100,000 subscribers. I don't have this huge, large, so-called audience that everybody thinks you have to have before you can actually do anything with a personal brand. Now, I want to caveat this by saying, yes, you do have to be patient, especially in the beginning, and it's a lot of hard work. Nothing comes easy, especially passive income. Anybody who tells you that passive income is passive is fooling you. They are a charlatan, because there's nothing passive about passive income. You have to do a lot of work before you can create these revenue streams that start to work for you. Amika, if I'm saying that right, how to business plan a 6-figure biz online. That sounds great. Yeah, maybe I'll make a video exactly with that title. How to create a business plan for a 6-figure, to create 6 figures. I may even do that. Thank you so much, Amika. Make sure you click subscribe and make sure you smash the smash button so you don't miss anything, okay? Vasilios Kontodimas is here on LinkedIn Live. It is so good to see you, brother. Make sure you share this out, please. It would mean the world to me because, sharing is caring. Hello. It works. You're using the wrong metrics. It's not about 1 million subscribers. It's not about having, 1.4 million likes on Instagram. It's not about having this insanely large, overwhelming audience that takes 20 years to build. No, it's not about quantity. It's about quality. It's about the right people. And if you create content that does these 3 things, I'm going to give you 3 tips right now. You want to make money? This is how you're going to make money today. Not tomorrow, not 6 weeks from now, not 6 months from now, today. And then I'm going to jump into the specifics of a talk show, because creating a talk show, I don't want to say is the easiest form of content to create to start building your brand, but it's definitely the fastest. It's definitely the fastest way to start building your personal brand without having to worry about, oh my God, what am I going to come up with? What ideas? What am I going to talk about? What am I going to share? How am I going to create? What video ideas? Creating a talk show, and I'm going to talk about the importance of podcasting too, is probably the fastest and maybe I should say the easiest way to create content, which is the blood fuel. Okay, it's the blood fuel. That doesn't even make sense. It is the lifeblood of your personal brand. Content is the lifeblood of your personal brand. Okay, and so I'm gonna talk to you about that. But this is really, really important. Okay, it works. It's not about you need to serve a very specific audience. Okay, you don't see me talking about quasars and quantum mechanics, right? Because that's not an audience that I can serve. I don't know anything about that stuff, and that's not an audience that I can serve. You're not going to hear me talk about, how to be a better, fisherman, because that's not my expertise. That's not my forte. That's not my ethos. That's not my credibility. I can't serve an audience of people who want to get better at fishing because that's just not who I am. I'm not going to be able to serve them. So it's about serving the right kind of audience. Everybody should write this down right now. It's about serving the right kind of audience that is aligned to your expertise that solves their problem. Serving an audience whose interests, it's not about you is another way of putting it. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. Matthew Mitchell says, how to build friendships through online presence. I love that, Matthew. Here's a great way to do it. Actually, Matthew, stick around, because creating a talk show online is the best way to do it without being creepy and without being spammy, which one of the things, and I love my beloved platform of LinkedIn, but LinkedIn has become the spammiest platform of them all. I mean, it really has. It's kind of bummed me out. Excuse me. LinkedIn has definitely had to get a little sip of my green tea. LinkedIn has become probably the spammiest. Instagram, you still with me? Looks like Instagram. Hold on a second. Yeah, looks like Instagram's a little bit with me. So this is, you're gonna love this, Matthew. If that's what you're interested in solving, you're gonna love this show, because having your own talk show with your expertise, and I'll even use you as a case study if you want me to, Matthew. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me what it is that you do and what your expertise is. It's not about quantity. It's about quality. The more that you focus on, this is who I am, this is the problem I can solve, and this is how you're going to get there, and you serve your audience, you're going to win, because people are going to pay attention to you. Because they'll be like, wow, he's talking to me. He or she is actually trying to solve my problem. See, my forte is I eat, sleep, and breathe communication. I've been an author. I've been a communicator. I've been a professional speaker for years. I've been a business writing professor for years, a business communications professor for years. I'm an executive career coach, a public speaking coach. I am also a personal branding coach. So messaging and words and language and getting your message down pat, that's who I am. That's my kind of quote unquote superpower or expertise. I don't like to use the word superpower. It's kind of lame, but that's my sort of core essentiality. And so what do? I create content around that, because eventually I'm going to be able to demonstrate. It's one thing to say that I'm a good communicator, but I have to be able to demonstrate that. It's one thing to say that I know a lot about personal branding and how to build your online reputation, but I have to demonstrate that. And the best way to demonstrate that is to build a personal brand that has content that serves the pain points, the interests of not you, because most people are making content that's very self-promotional. It doesn't serve you. It serves your audience. It serves your potential clients. It serves your potential customers. It serves your potential employers. It serves your potential employers. This is not just for business owners. This is not just for content creators who want to create a side hustle. This is not just for online marketers or online business e-commerce shop owners. This is for you too, who wants to elevate their career. This is for you too, who wants to build a visual tapestry, a three-dimensional resume. I've said this before in previous streams. The resume is dead, y'all. If it's not dead now, it's going to be dead in 3 to 4 years. The resume is dead. Joanna Peng, how are you? Good to see you. Joanna on YouTube. It's so good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you smash the smash button, smash that like button, and share this out. I would really, really appreciate it. Sharing, don't forget, sharing is caring. Matthew says on LinkedIn, that's a hard question. I do many things: life insurance, crotcheter, cleaner, cook. This is another thing too, and I did a show on this. When you have all these different expertises, when you have all these different, go check out my channel, Matthew. And if I didn't do a video on this, I should, and I will. It's okay to have multiple interests. It's okay to have multiple things that you're good at. But I would say when you're getting started out, when you're building your brand, narrowing it and focusing it is the best way to start. I would say it's the best way to start is to narrowing it down. And then as you expand, as you get more comfortable, as you get better and better and better, then you can dip your toes into different, is that crochet or crotchet? Crochet. I'm thinking that's crochet. I have no idea what crotchet is. Anybody know what crotchet is? I have no idea. So building your personal brand. Okay, so that was one example, the podcast. Here's another example. I also accrued a new client. Okay, it has nothing to do with likes, has nothing to do with comments, has nothing to do with subscribers, has nothing to do with followers. Another client, another case study. And this was a video that I created. And this is where consistency comes in, because you never know who's watching, which is why I believe in high frequency, high volume content. I don't want to force you to do anything that you're not comfortable doing. I don't want to force you to, I don't want to force you to have to come up with unbelievable, jaw-dropping content every single week, and I don't want you to kill yourself. But I will say that, it takes a lot of hard work. And if you want to be financially free, if you want to have income streams that are quote unquote passive, but they're not really passive. If you want to have, if you want to go to sleep and make money while you're sleeping, building a strong personal brand can help you get there. If you're happy where you are, I was going to say this at the top of the show, but even if you're happy where you are, it doesn't apply. You still have to create content. And I say consistency and frequency is instrumental to your success. Consistency and frequency is instrumental, but don't kill yourself. I mean, I create new content almost every single week. It is important to take breaks. I've got videos on this too. It is important to avoid burnout. It is important to take a step back and hit that giant pause button. But for the most part, you should be creating as much as possible. There's no excuse. Okay? There's really no excuse. Somebody hired me on Facebook very recently. And I've got a pretty good audience on Facebook. I've been on Facebook since 2007. Facebook engagement, organic engagement has been dying, drastically. Just dying drastically, right? I think most of you guys already know this, which is why I love LinkedIn and I love LinkedIn Live, because LinkedIn is literally the new Facebook. LinkedIn is Facebook 2010, 2012, where you're just getting this unbelievable, it's better than Facebook 2011, 2012. You're getting this unbelievable organic reach. Reached out to me on Facebook Messenger, and he said, Nez, I love your videos. I love the content that you put out. You just blow my mind. You're so inspiring. I want to create a YouTube channel. I want to create a brand around my expertise. And he was an auto dude. If I remember correctly, he was interested in custom automobile accessories. And he never once commented on a video. This guy said he'd been watching my videos for 5 years straight. He didn't once comment. He didn't once leave a like. He never engaged in the discussion. I never even knew he existed. And he bought a high-ticket item, coaching package, personal branding package. And I come to find out he'd been a consistent Nez Nation member. He'd been a consistent viewer. He's just one of those guys, and that's okay. You don't have to leave a comment. You don't have to smash the smash button, although it would mean a lot to me if you could. You don't have to. Imagine if I'd have given up. Imagine if he was the one guy I was trying to reach, and after 2 or 3 years, 99% of you would have given up, right? But I know this capital F fact that maybe most of you don't. There is a large body of human beings, of people out there who enjoy your personality, who enjoy your ability to communicate value, who enjoy what you have to offer. You're thinking too massively. You need to think narrowly. You need to think specifically. Reach the right type of people, and you can build a strong presence that makes you really, really good money. I mean, really, really good money. I never knew he existed. I never knew this guy existed. And so there's another example. And I'm telling you, these are just 2 cases. This is something that happens all the time. I cannot tell you how many times I've had people say, Nez, I saw your video. Nez, I read your article. Nez, I heard your podcast. Nez, I came across your story on Instagram, on Facebook, on Snapchat. I can't tell you how many times that's happened. Nez, I came across your website. SEOing your website is huge. SEOing your blogs, SEOing your content on your website is huge, because Google is the largest search engine on the planet. What's the second largest search engine on the planet, my YouTubers out there? I think I just gave it away. Joanne, it's so nice to see you. Really, really nice to see you. Thank you for being here. What's my second largest search engine? YouTube. That's right. Simon and Vasilios. Let's see. Vasilios says, here's a challenge. How about making high net individuals, wealth management principles and funds, other than venture, drool over a film production method with an IP and team that can threaten the status quo? Well, I mean, if you want to make anybody drool, whether they're high net individuals, wealth management principles and funds that are not venture or VC, then I would say, how are you getting your message out there? It starts with a clearly identified brand message, Vasilios. And then once you've identified, now you want to know how, I've got a video on this, how to create an elevator pitch. It's basically a 30-second, if you don't know what an elevator pitch is, it's a 30-second kind of pitch, okay, where you talk about, you basically have a very short amount of time to show, not just tell, to show these high net individual wealth management principles and fund managers or what have you, why they should drool over you. I have a video like this on my YouTube channel. It's called Mastering the Elevator Pitch, right? And it starts with this. If you create content, if you dissect, you're actually, this is not a challenge at all, Vasilios, and I'll tell you why. You already know who your ICA is, otherwise known as your ideal customer avatar. Now you've got to break them down demographically and psychographically. You need to dissect these dudes. What are their pain points? What is it that they want? What is their essential problem? And how you want to make them drool? Solve their problem. How are you going to solve their problem? What is your film production method that can threaten the status quo? How is that going to solve their problem? If you create content on a consistent, high-frequency, high-volume basis revolved around that, you will get every single one of those dudes. Because I guarantee you, or dudettes, because I guarantee you, nobody else is trying to reach the audience of that caliber with, high-value content. I just know they're not. So there's no competition. Jump on LinkedIn, Vasilios. Create a 1 to 3 minute video. Hey, are you a wealth management principal? Are you in charge of a fund or a venture capital firm? I said other than venture capital. I've got something that can help you XYZ, solve your IP issue, and that can help you take you to the next level. Give me 20 seconds and I'll explain it. Boom. In the beginning, you might not get any hits. In the beginning, you might not get anything. In the beginning, you might get nothing for even maybe 6 to 7 months. Keep creating. When I first started my podcast, when I first started my live stream show, I wasn't getting anything. Here's another thing that you guys need to understand. It's building a personal brand. It's not hyper driving a personal brand. It's not Insta personal brand, okay? It's building a personal brand. What does that mean? It takes time, y'all. It takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a year. It's not going to even happen in 18 months. If you're lucky if it happens in 18 months. It takes time, but I promise you it will pay dividends. Who the hell am I? I'm nobody. Who the hell am I? There's nothing special about Professor Nez. There's nothing even original about Professor Nez. Who am I? How come I'm able to build a multiple six-figure business with my personal brand? How am I able to do that? Why? Because I've got no excuses. Why? Because I have the audacity to look you in the eye and say there's nobody better than me that can help you with your problems. You need to have that same gusto. You need to have that same fervor. Don't ever forget this, guys. I'm going to say this. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. Nobody buys your credentials. They buy your energy. There I am pointing again. Sorry, I don't mean to point. Simon says, how do I start my own business online through you? I'm happy to work with you. I also have a personal branding 101 flagship course, over 3 hours of modules, assignment, lesson plans, videos that can show you how to start your personal brand that can make you money from scratch. One that can generate 200 million film at an indie budget. Oh, that's fantastic, Vasilios. I even like the way that you characterize that. We've done our first dissection, identified potential targets. You know who your audience is. Personal branding has absolutely zero to do with you. The reason most of you guys fail is because it's too self-promotional. You need to solve their problems. You need to serve them. Capital S, serve your audience, serve your customer, serve your clients, serve your audience. That's it. That's the biggest thing that a lot of us miss, is that we create these stories on Instagram, we create these YouTube videos, we create these LinkedIn lives or what have you, but it just seems like an infomercial about you, or it's just a self-promotional commercial for you. You need to help them. You need to solve their problems. Think about your audience first. That's how you're going to make money. That's how you're going to bet more than money. You're going to have a reputation that leaves people feeling like, wow, when I think of Vasilios, when I think of Simon, when I think of Charlie Dog, I think that, wow, those guys are super helpful. They're always giving, and I get a good warm feeling when I think about them. Feelings are incredibly important. Remember this, nobody buys your credentials. They buy your energy. Here's another stat. 85%, this is from the Dale Carnegie Institute of Technology. I use this one in my class all the time. 85% of your financial success is contingent upon your personality, your ability to negotiate, communicate, and lead. Remarkably, only 15% is due to your technical skills. You need to be able to communicate. You need to be able to get your message across. You need to be able to be understood. You need to be able to, first of all, you need to create awareness. How do you create awareness? By creating content. The fastest, easiest way to create content is to start a talk show. Start a talk show, and I'll tell you why it's the easiest, okay? And technically speaking, and by the way, if you want a technical kind of, if you want me to go through a lot of the technical stuff, like, which platform to use or what about audio and lighting, I'm not going to get into all that. If you want me to create videos on that, I'm happy to do that. Just leave a comment down below and I will. But I really want to start with just a kind of big overarching kind of perspective, because you don't need a lot of tech. Okay. You have all the tech you need in your pocket, in your smartphone. You don't need a lot of tech. Hey, by the way, guys on LinkedIn, and I asked this question earlier. Guys on LinkedIn and YouTube and anybody watching this on the replay, what do you guys think of, do you guys think that it looks better with the background blurred? Here's blurred background. Tell me which one looks better. Does it look better with the background blurred, or does it look better in focus? Let me know in the chat. Does it look better focused like this background, or blurred? I kind of like it blurred, I'll be honest with you. I don't know. Maybe because all the focus is on me. Look at me, Mr. Big Time. Let me know in the chat. Do you like the background to be blurred, or do you like it in focus? Let me know in the chat, okay? I'm going to leave it in focus for now. Amika, yes, absolutely. I have an entire playlist on my YouTube channel. I have an entire playlist on my YouTube channel called Personal Branding, Digital Storytelling. Go check that out. There's plenty of videos that reach that. And by the way, if you're interested in going even deeper, Amika, join beyondtheboxacademy.com. I've got a flagship course, building a personal brand that will make you money. Go check it out. If you use the coupon code NEZNation, okay? If you use the coupon code NEZNation minus the hashtag, you will get 30% off. Okay, Edith says focus. Vasilios says blurred. I do kind of like blurred. Flash in your pan says blurred. Amika says focus. Looks more real. Okay, you know what? I've had it on focus for a while. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to kind of do it blurred for a little bit and just kind of I'll do half the show blurred, half the show focused, okay? Thank you so much for indulging me, and thank you for answering that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Joanne. Okay, Joanne says focused. Okay, I'm going to try blurred for just a while, and then I'll go back to focus, okay, towards the end. So starting a talk show. Okay, the reason why starting a talk show is a great way for you to build your brand fast, and maybe even maybe not the easiest, but simplest, it still takes a lot of work, is you don't have to constantly think of new ideas every time you're trying to build content that three-dimensionalizes who you are, especially if you start a talk show where you host and you bring on guests. The guests can provide most of the content. That's number one. If you're not a natural conversationalist or you don't feel that you're an effective communicator, then just make sure that you have, I never have a list of questions for my guests. I mean, I have some questions in my head, but I usually feel the best way to do it. And I've got videos on this. I'll leave them in the cards. I've got videos on how to host a talk show and top mistakes to avoid when hosting a live stream show. I've got videos on that all over my YouTube channel and my website, professornez.com/live streams. I like to have the conversation feel natural. I like to have the conversation feel like, it's just a normal conversation. It's just me and this guest having coffee, and just shooting the breeze. I almost said the other word. So I actually think that that's maybe the fastest and maybe the easiest way to build your brand online is to start a talk show, because it's not up to you to be creating all this new content. If you bring your guest on, remember what I said, it's all about serving your audience, then it's all really about the guest, right? And you're there to kind of facilitate this conversation that hopefully brings value to your audience. Well, how do I get guests, or how do I invite people, or how do I even schedule them? I'm gonna get into that in just a second. But the first thing that I want to tell you when you're hosting a talk show and how to start a talk show is you need to identify your area of expertise, and I think you should start by narrowing that down. We had somebody earlier on LinkedIn talk about how they had all these different, I forgot your name, I'm so sorry, had all these different interests and all these different passions and what have you. That's fantastic. That's great. But focus on one area of expertise: management, leadership, entertainment, branding, marketing, whatever it is. Okay. Sales, streamlining processes, drawing, animation, graphic design, it doesn't matter. Pick something that is very specific. I mean, flash in your pan, gold prospecting. What a fantastic niche. Flash in your pan has probably one of the best niches on the planet. Did I get that right too, by the way, Flash? At least that's the impression I get from your brand. And I love your brand, and I love your live streams. I think they're fantastic. Yeah, thank you, Vasilios. I appreciate that. Simon says, how do I get started and what do I need to key in? If you go to beyondtheboxacademy.com, Simon, if that's what you're talking about, just go to the link. I have a link in the description on the YouTube video, but if you just Google beyondtheboxacademy.com or just put that in your browser, then you can enroll, and then put where it says coupon code, put the coupon code NEZNation, and you'll get 30% off. And you will get the best step-by-step, holding your hand throughout the entire process, how to get started, where to get started, how to execute, how to build a brand step-by-step, all aggregated, all organized in one beautiful digital course that will help you make money in 2020 and beyond. That's how you get, if that's what you're talking about, at least I think that's what you're talking about. Yes, gold prospecting. Yes, exactly. So we've got some great live streamers. We've got some great talk show hosts in the chat right now who have a lot to offer as well. And I would love to hear your tips too. Leave them in the comments down below. Let me know what your tips are. So I always say this. I always say, focus in on a niche, whatever it is. I don't know how you're supposed to say it. I think niche sounds better. I think that's actually the correct way of pronouncing it. Focus in on a niche, and then once you start, focusing and narrowing it down, and you're able to really, it aligns to who you are. It aligns to what you're passionate about. It aligns to what forget passion. It aligns to how you can solve a specific problem for a specific audience. Then you can start bringing in guests who are quote unquote experts in your field, in your niche, who can not only bring value to your audience, but guess what, y'all? They also bring their audience to your show, and they bring awareness and brand awareness to you, okay? And if they have a good size enough audience, even if they don't, you're getting more exposure for you and your brand, and you can get introduced to a whole new audience. So think about this. You don't have to create anything new. You're just hosting a show where you're talking to a guest about them, having them share their story and hopefully provide value. Number two, you're also getting access to their audience. If they have an audience built in, you're leveraging their audience as well, okay? And number three, you're a facilitator. So it's not like you don't have to worry about keeping everything on the ball. Now, I do advise, we'll talk about mediums in just a second. Should I do a podcast? Should I do a video live stream show? What kind of talk show should I do? We'll talk about that in a second. Personally, I think you should do both. But we'll talk about that in just a second, because I know most people are not comfortable live video in front of, it doesn't have to be live actually at all. Even if it's recorded, a lot of people don't feel comfortable in front of the camera. That is a skill that you definitely need to start becoming more adept at, especially in the 21st century. And I've got videos. What a shock. Nez has videos on camera branding too. Nez has videos on how to feel more comfortable in front of the camera. Holy macadamia nut. Is there anything I don't provide you? Is there anything that I don't provide you? I dare you to find something that I don't provide you a lot of help for when it comes to branding, messaging, 21st century communications, and this dude right here, mindset. I wonder if we're done on Instagram. Let's see. Are we done on Instagram? Oh, wait, hold on. I think we might be. Yeah, I think we're done on Instagram. So that's where, having a talk show can be a great, fast, easy, simple way to really build your reputation and really build your brand. Now, where do I start, Nez, and how do I start getting guests, and how do I invite guests? Well, before you even worry about microphones, before you even worry about, webcams and live stream softwares or Skype or Zoom or any type of software where you can bring somebody in and talk to them. You could even do, a phone interview as well. I think it's important to have a professional scheduler. Now, it's cool. You can use your simple, Google scheduler or what have you, but I think having a professional scheduler is really a great way to show that you're very serious and you're committed to what you're doing. And it also saves you a lot of headaches when, you're planning your show, because I've had this happen where, when I first started out, I didn't use a professional scheduler or calendar, and there was all sorts of mishaps. There was all sorts of mistakes. People thought they were on this day and that day, and time zones got mixed up. Just save yourself the stress, the anxiety. I've got a free tool that you can use that I use it personally. It's called Acuity scheduling calendar, and it's in the description down below on YouTube if you want to go check it out. It's a free tool. It's free. You can sign up for free. You can send out a link to your guests. It schedules everything automatically. It's seamless. It's perfectly streamlined. It's awesome. It's stress-free. So go check it out. I have a link down below. I think it's best to have a professional calendar or professional scheduling tool so that, you did all this hard, you worked this hard to create this show. You worked this hard to get the person to say yes. You worked very, very hard to maybe promote it, distribute it, to maybe make sure that your set looks good or decent or what have you. You showered that day. And then to have, it come time to shoot or to record, and that person's not there because they thought they were supposed to come tomorrow or next week. That's a nightmare. And especially you set aside time, okay? You set aside time from your busy schedule, and that ruins your day too. So it's not only is it unprofessional and it really speaks badly to your brand, but you've just wasted a lot of time. Super Dave in the house. Good to see you. Flash says he books his guests 3 months in advance. Fantastic, Flash. Wow, that's great. That's terrific. The more in advance I would say, the better. And then I'm assuming, here's another thing too, with the scheduler that I actually use, which by the way, there's a link down in the description below. Sign up is free. You don't have to pay. I have a paid version, but you don't have to have a paid version. It also sends an automatic reminder. There's all these cool things if you really get into it. If you're really committed to this and you're committed to starting a talk show, I would say the first thing before the tech, get a professional scheduling tool. And I've got a link down below. It's the very same scheduling tool that I use to book my guests and my clients, as a matter of fact. So it's a kind of all-purpose in one tool for scheduling. Next, how do you decide whether you want to do audio, podcasting, or you want to do video? Now, I said earlier, personally, I think you should do both. Why? Because why not? I'm recording this live stream right now on 4 different platforms, okay? And my beloved LinkedIn, YouTube are my top 2, my top favorite. Sorry, Periscope, and sorry, Twitch. I haven't really, been getting a lot of engagement there, but I'm looking to build, stronger. I'm going to take the audio of this. It's so easy to do. I have video content, which 3-dimensionalizes who I am, and I can meet new people like Amika and Simon and some other people who are coming into the chat that I haven't met before. I can network. I can 3-dimensionalize my personal brand. Very easily, you can strip the audio out of this video, okay? It does not require a lot of tech. Just Google, how do I take the audio out of a video? Whatever browser or OS operating system you're using, it's very, very simple. And you can put the audio and create that into a podcast. And I'll leave a link in the description down below for probably the easiest software, the easiest company that helps you make podcasts on the go. And it's very, very simple. Here's another thing too. Are we getting sick of the blur? Should I go back to focused? Who's getting sick of the blur? Let me know in the chat. I think I might. It's kind of making me a little bit. It's kind of making me a little hazy. I think I'm going to go back. I want to go back. Thank you so much, Dave. I think I'm going to go back to the focused. Let me know if that's better or not better. I actually kind of like the focused, I think. I mean, the blurred is kind of cool, the depth of perception, though. I kind of like that. Flash says, I've been thinking about moving all my past shows to a podcast site. I would say that's the smartest thing you could do, dude. I would say jump on that. What is the harm? What is the worst thing that could happen? It requires a little more effort. But the reason why I think podcasting, I mean, there's all sorts of statistics that show that voice technology, and I've talked about this in previous episodes of Nez Nation Live, how voice is the future and how Alexa, Flash skills, Siri is going to get better and better, and, Apple Pod and Google Home and all these smart speaker technologies. Voice technology is something that is hugely innovative and important and cutting edge, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. But also podcasting is very, very convenient. When you're listening to something, you can do multiple things at once. When you're watching, you have to watch or you miss it. You can't do multiple things at once when you're watching a video. Otherwise, you're just going to miss out. But you could listen to a video. I mean, I've done that before. I've just put a YouTube video on that was maybe a long live stream. So I've done this with Nick Nimmons' awesome live stream that he does on Saturdays. Just put my headphones in and listen to the audio, not worry about the video. You could do that, but podcasting, even people who are listening to podcasts, and Spotify has brought in podcast to the foreground, which, by the way, our podcast, Nez Nation Live, we're everywhere. We're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're on Stitcher, we're on Google Podcasts. If you might be listening to this right now on the podcast, I really, really appreciate you. Make sure that you subscribe to our podcast, because I'm bringing serious audio content to you just as much as I am any other kind of content. So I'm a big believer in podcasting. I'm a big believer in how podcasting is a great way to build your brand. It's a great way to build your online reputation. Podcasting is hugely, hugely viable. And also, if you're not comfortable in front of the camera, it's a great place to start. You could just do voice. As my mom told me long ago, Nez, you've definitely got the face for radio. So thanks, Mom. My mother, folks, she's a great encourager. No, I'm just kidding. I love my mom. But it might be a great place to start. Now, why I think you should do both is because why not? If you're really stifled by getting in front of the camera, then don't stress yourself out. I don't want you to have a heart attack. But getting comfortable in front of the camera, if you're even halfway comfortable in the camera, do both. Do a video podcast where you can cut out the audio. Make sure you smash, You've got the audio, you've got the video, you can repurpose all this content all over social, all over your website, all over Twitter, all over Instagram. Awareness, serving. Build that awareness. Branding is about building that awareness, building that reputation. It's about eyeballs and earballs, getting in front of the right people, not just everybody. It's not about the masses. It's about getting in front of the right people. And nobody is going to find you if you don't execute. Nobody's going to discover you if you don't execute. Nobody's going to understand who you are if you don't at least give it a shot. And here's another thing I should tell you, and I've talked about this in previous videos. You're going to stumble, mumble, and fumble all along the way. Imperfection is a part of the game. There's no such thing as a perfect live stream. There's no such thing as a perfect video. I guarantee you, if you look at any one of these professional video marketing guru, YouTube expert, vlog, ninjas, you're going to find out that go check out their first 20, 30, 50 videos. Holy macadamia nut. I mean, it's atrocious. Look at my first 20, 30 videos. Atrocious. It's an abomination. They're so bad. I'm not even sure my recent ones are getting much better. No, I'm kidding. I hope so. I hope they are. People's Bill on Twitch. People's Bill. What do you talk about on the podcast? Mindset and messaging, to put it quite simply. I eat, sleep, and breathe words and language. And I'm a big believer that misunderstanding is the greatest disease that ever faced mankind. And that communication is the mortar that binds, cultures, cities, nations, ideologies, friendships, marriages, everything. And so that's what I talk about. And I also talk about mindset because as a young man, I suffered from debilitating anxiety and depression. And I took every pill on the planet. I saw every doctor on the planet, and none of them helped. And it wasn't until I went through the hell that was my cavernous mind from 18 to 29 and battled and learned and navigated, and through due diligence, through study, through research, through experiential knowledge, nothing I love more than helping people who are now suffering with anxiety and depression, because I went through that hell and I want to help people. So my whole podcast, my whole channel is all about mindset and messaging. Getting your mindset right. You can't get your message right if you don't get your mindset right. And if you don't get your message right, nobody's going to know who you are. Nobody's going to want to hire you. Nobody's going to want to do business with you. You have to build that awareness. So I hope that makes sense. People's Bill. Please subscribe to the podcast. And if you're facing any, I haven't really talked a lot about mindset or anxiety for a while, but if you're looking to learn a little bit more about anxiety and panic attacks and things of that nature, I've got an amazing playlist on my YouTube channel called Mindset Mastery, and I've got an amazing flagship course at Beyond the Box Academy called Mindset Mastery. So again, you can use the coupon code NEZNation and you get a 30% discount minus the hashtag. John from You Do It is here. How in the world are you? You Do It, John. It's so great to see you. I'm going to see John over at Vid Summit. How are you? He is an awesome technical video creator. I love your stuff, John. It's good to see you, man. Yeah, this is a great comment here by John. John says, it's easy to say don't worry about what they think, but you can beat yourself up. Try reading Ultimate Power. Yeah, thank you so much, John. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I don't say those kind of things. Like I don't like it when there's this message that, hey, buck up, or hey, every day is glorious, and you shouldn't feel sad, and why are you feeling blue, and you shouldn't do all this stuff. That's a bunch of BS. There's nothing wrong with, there's nothing. Oh, Jay, I didn't even see your question. I'm so sorry. I want to get to that question right there. Jay says, I love your vids and need some advice. How do I stop being afraid of what people might think? Oh, that's a great question. And you know what? I think I'll probably do but somebody else asked me that question too. I think I'll do an entire video on that as well, Jay. Thank you so much. First off, understand this, that everybody really starts with thinking about themselves first. And, understanding that other people's judgment stems from Anybody who's judging you for being you, it really, this is how you stop worrying about what other people think, okay? Number one is you don't want to try to attract the type of people who don't appreciate who you truly are. So anybody who judges you negatively, anybody who judges you negatively, period, has got some other stuff going on. And they're usually, especially when they're spewing hate and trolling, usually it means there's a deeper, unresolved psychological internal issue with themselves. And really, they're in a lot of pain. And I actually feel sorry for trolls and people, because you can't live on hate. Hate is a poison that you can't live on. You can't survive spewing hate everywhere. I mean, it just eats you up. It's a self-degenerating disease. Number two, it's a beautiful win-win. You know exactly who are the wrong people to hang out with because they don't appreciate who you are. And B, you attract the right people by being more of who you are. So how to not worry what people think is, number one, it's not about impressing everyone. You can't please everybody all the time. And number two, what are you going to do with your life? Are you going to live your life as an imposter trying to please people that don't matter anyway and who are just jerks and negative and have, all sorts of inner demons and inner kind of inequities inside themselves? No. It's about, attracting the right people at the right time, which has to happen naturally by you being your unabashed self, by you being capital Y-O-U. So this is the way that I look at it. The way that I look at it is the more that I'm myself, I attract the right type of people. And the people who care to judge me, I try to think of them as people who, they don't really know who I am, and they're basing their judgment on something really myopic and really superfluous and just superficial is the right word I was looking for. And secondly, I don't want those people anyway. I'm not trying to. It's not about quantity. That's the thing, guys. It's not about quantity. It's about quality. Hold on a second here. I'm about to. I think I have to. Hold on a second. Yeah, I think I have to sneeze. Oh no. Okay, it went away. It's not about quantity. It's about quality. Art. This one froze for 45 seconds and keeps freezing off and on. Oh no. LinkedIn does it really? I'm not getting any message here that it's doing that. Is it freezing for you guys on YouTube? I hope not. Jay, I mean, that was kind of a roundabout way of basically saying that, the more that you're yourself, the right people are going to matter, okay? And the people that don't matter, who cares anyway? Because they don't matter. So you just do you. You be your unabashed self. And you're going to feel more truthful about who you are, and you're going to feel better about yourself, and you're not going to feel like you're faking and pretending. And B, it's going to attract the right audience. It's going to attract the right community, the community that's going to appreciate you for who you are. I hope that helps, and I'll get way more deeper on that in future videos. People's Bill says, I do have anxiety, to be honest. I just can't get out of it. It controls me, man. Any advice will do. I've got an amazing video that has helped thousands of people, People's Bill. Go check it out on my YouTube channel. It's called maybe Midnight Madness. Charlie, go to my YouTube channel, and it's called How to Stop Anxiety and Overthinking. I want you to put that video link in the chat, please, Charlie Dog, if you don't mind. If you go to my Mindset Mastery playlist, there's a video that I think I have a whole playlist on anxiety, how to stop overthinking, panic attacks, you name it. It will help you, People's Bill, I promise. Well, look who's here. Hey, Neil, how you doing, mate? Good to see you, brother. We're going to see the Urban Explorer very, very soon at Vid Summit. I cannot wait. I'm all set, Neil. I'm all set. I've got my ticket, brother. I am going to be there. We're going to see John. John's going to get a big Nez Nation bear hug. Urban Explorer is going to get a big Nez Nation bear hug. I can't wait. Niminati's going to get a big Nez Nation bear hug. You best believe it. Vasilios, LinkedIn had a few freezes. Okay, thank you so much, Vasilios. Yeah, on my end, everything looks okay. So should you do podcasting or should you do video? I think you should do both, but definitely start with something that you feel the most comfortable in. And then I say keep the conversation natural. If you're talking about something that aligns with your brand, aka your expertise, something that you can solve problems for a very specific audience. I don't want to say something that you're passionate about, even though that's important. You're lucky if you can get paid to do something that you love because, and here's what I'm going to say. Actually, you wouldn't be able to, actually, let me take that back. Because you wouldn't be able to solve problems for this specific audience. You wouldn't be really, really good at that thing, I think, if you didn't have some kind of intense love or interest for it. And so that's how you kind of avoid burnout too, is you want to pick something that you just know deep in your heart, this is what I was born to do. This is what I was meant to do. I mean, I was born to coach, train, mentor, and teach. I was born to do that. My father was a professor. My grandfather was one of the first superintendents for charter schools. It's in my DNA. I mean, my friends, ever since I was a young man, ever since I was a kid, all my friends always turned to me for advice. I was always that one friend that was like, if you ever have any problems or anything going on in your life, let's go talk to Nez. It wasn't like I was nothing special, nothing, oh, look at me. It's just, I'm just saying, that's just how it was. I loved helping people. I loved talking I think the power of communication is the most ultimate power in the universe. I truly feel that way. I truly feel that communication can solve 90% of the world's problems. I really, truly feel that way. And the other 10%, somehow communication's in the periphery. Somehow it is. Nice. Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you, Midnight. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yes, it's there's a link go to my playlist, People's Bill on Twitch. Go to my playlist and you'll definitely see it there. I've got a ton of videos on the dude inside your dome and how much damage he can cause if you don't know how to circumvent him. And I guarantee you those videos will help you people. I would love your thoughts on that. So starting a talk show, I'm going to leave links in the description, bringing guests on. I would also advise that you do a couple of solo shows too, just like I'm doing right now, because I think it's important to, when you have guests on, there is a tendency. This is what I want to do. I want to kind of give some real nitty-gritty kind of tactical advice on when you're having a guest on your show. Number one, and this relates to why I think you should do a few solo shows too. Number one, people love to talk about themselves, and so if and I've got a whole video playlist on how to host a talk show too. But people like to talk about themselves, and if you are not, when I say facilitator, you really have to be the sort of you really have to take charge of the flow of the conversation more than just facilitate. You definitely want to give them their time, but I can tell you right now, there is 1,000,006 podcasts out there that are really, really bad. Why? Because the guest does not take control of the show and the host does not take control of the show and lets the guest just sort of ramble on and on and on. Remember, they're coming onto your show. They need to provide value for your audience. So you need to kind of commandeer the conversation. You need to steer it in certain directions. There's a lot of great examples of people who do this really, really well. And so the one kind of, common denominator amongst all those podcast hosts is they make sure that they hold their guest accountable. They don't just let their guest ramble on. It's not interrupting or interjecting. It's understanding the flow of the conversation, but also, you might have to interrupt. You might have to say, hey, Jim, we got to do this, or hey, Jim, let me ask you this. You got to really understand that it's all about serving your audience. If you think about your audience first, don't just sit there and don't acknowledge that, this is the whole purpose of this show is to bring value to them. The whole purpose of the show is to help them solve some kind of problem. So all of your questions, if you're thinking about questions, and I never do this, I always try to keep the conversation just very, very natural. I find that questions, and I sometimes have ideas of questions, but this regimented, I'm not a big regimenter. I'm not a big planner. I don't like having everything laid out like that. I just trust the process and I trust what I can bring to the table and I let it unfold naturally. Do I sometimes miss? More than sometimes. Do I care? Yeah, sometimes it hurts, but guess what? I move on, and there's a lot more hits than there are misses. So if you're kind of one of those people who likes, everything to be premeditated and you're super analytical, then write out some questions. I just fear, I don't want your show to be rigid. I don't want your show to feel kind of robotic and mechanical. Treat your guest as if you're inviting them to have a cup of coffee and you're just shooting the breeze. Keep it natural. Keep it, I'm not going to say organic. I hate that word, but just keep the flowing, like a natural conversation. That's it. So, I live about 2 hours south of LA for sure. I don't live that far from Vid Summit. I'm pretty lucky that way. So make sure that you steer the conversation in the right direction. Otherwise, it can turn into this pontification. It can turn into this long, drawn-out diatribe of where the guest is talking about their dog Coco for 17 hours. You don't want that. Trust me, you do not want that, okay? Secondly, besides making sure that you're steering the conversation correctly, and if you're going to do it live, be mindful of the chat. I can't stand when this happens, when people start a talk show or a live stream talk show specifically, and they completely ignore the live chat. You've got to acknowledge the chat. I try really, really hard. I know I can't get to everybody, but I try really, really hard to be mindful of who's in the chat, what are they talking about, what are they saying. If there's any questions, it helps if you have some moderators in the chat, which I do. But if you're going to do it live, then make sure that, especially if you're going to do it live on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great place. YouTube is a great place to get really a broader reach. Make sure that you acknowledge the people in the chat. Make sure that you acknowledge them. Make sure that you're engaging with them. There is nothing that I think sets you up for disaster faster than doing a live stream talk show, and it's just you and the guest, going back and forth, and there's zero recognition or acknowledgement of the audience. You need to recognize your audience. You need to acknowledge your audience. It's extremely important. You cannot ignore the live chat. That's exactly right, Flash. You just can't do it. Let's see. Midnight Madness says something interesting. I always let the chat ask the driver I'm interviewing live as questions to the driver. Yeah, that's another thing too. This is another reason why I think starting a talk show is one of the fastest and easiest ways to build your personal brand in 2020, because the content just kind of creates itself. That's what's really cool. And you can definitely you can bring, it's user-generated content. If you really want to think about it, it's user-generated content. So absolutely, you can have the people in the chat ask the questions for you to your guest. And, if you have a really strong guest, which you want to do your research, and I've got a video on big mistakes that people make when they're hosting a talk show. And one of them is, do not make your guest fill out a 10-page form. Why should I have you on my show? Or tell us 5 things you would like to talk about. Or you need to do your own. I can't tell you how many podcasts I've denied because the host tells me to fill out a 6-page, survey on, what I want to talk about, where I want to talk about it, and who am I, and what can I bring to. It's like, look, you're inviting me to be on your show. I'm not going to write an essay to be on your show. If you're inviting me to bring on your show, why are you inviting me to be on your show? You obviously must have seen some kind of value there, right? Do your own due diligence. Make it frictionless for your audience. Do not, Josh Ding King, why should I have you on my show? Josh Ding King says, hey, can I go on your talk show? Why? Why should I have you on my show? Fill out a 6-page questionnaire explaining to me why I should have you on my show. You should make it as easy as possible, which is why I said get a professional scheduler. Again, I have a link in the description down below of the exact scheduler that I use. It's free, 100% free, that I use to book my guests and that I even use to book my clients. So it's in the description on YouTube down below. You want to make it as easy as possible for them to join your show, okay? Having them fill out a 7-page questionnaire, having them, create a whole new bio or profile on your website to register for this before. Give me a break. That's the quickest way for your show to get canceled before it ever airs. Make it as easy as possible. Yo, Joe, here's a link. Boom. Be there 5 minutes early if you don't mind. Bam. See ya. Now, one thing I do say, and I've said this before in other videos, is make sure that you let your guests know if, you're going to ask them questions that maybe are proprietary or relate to their personal life or business. Just make sure that you let them know, because you don't want to shock your guest during the recording or especially during a live stream. And you don't want them to be caught off guard or flummoxed, like, why are you asking me this? Sometimes that makes for good live. I was going to say that makes for good live television, but I think I always say respect your guest as much as possible. Provide as much comfort, provide as much professionalism as you can, so your guest feels right at home. The more comfortable they are, the better the show will be. The more relaxed they are, the better the conversation. That's it. Look at this. Look at this. Now that's a pitch. Now that is a pitch. You should have me on your show, says Dr. Ed Marvin, because I have the best and longest running live talk show on gold prospecting and treasure hunting on YT. Done. All right, Flash, I'm sending you a link. You are on the show. That's how you ask. You see that? Who was that earlier on Twitch that said, "Can I come on your show?" That's how you ask, okay? You provide value. Now, Flash has been a long member of the Nez Nation family, and he's definitely somebody who's participated, contributed. He's been present, and he's an awesome, awesome family member here of Nez Nation. And he does have a kick-ass live stream that he does on gold prospecting. He absolutely does. Neil's been on the show before. Neil's been on the live stream before. Charlie's been on the live stream before. So, Flash, I'll bring you on. I'm going to bring you on, Flash. You got it, brother. That is fantastic. What else about starting a talk show? So video, podcast, make it easy for your guests, schedule it, be professional, let them know how long you plan to take their time. And now the tech stuff. I try to tell my audience, especially people who are starting a talk show, don't worry so much about the tech in the beginning. Just get your juices cooking, get the wheels turning, get everything kind of going, and then you can worry about the tech stuff. Start as minimal and basic as possible. And, if you want to know which platforms to be on and things like that, these are all just Google searches away. But I would say just keep it very, very simple, right? Keep it very, very simple in the beginning. No need to get a fancy green screen, fancy lighting, and fancy camera and fancy microphone in the beginning. Just do what you have. I've seen. Look, I know of one podcast show. The guy still uses his earbuds and Skype. That's it. On his laptop. He has no fancy camera. He has no fancy lighting. He has no fancy audio. And his podcast is doing amazing. I know he's got something like 100,000 a month visitors to his podcast, which is amazing. So I always try to say stay away from the fancy tech as you get going, as you get more comfortable, as you get more committed to it. That tech will sort of take care of itself. You will naturally seek out the tech, and you'll build communities, you'll build relationships with other talk show hosts, with other content creators. You'll be a part of networks and communities, and you'll learn what to buy and what not to buy. You'll see what other people are using. You'll learn from them. But let me know in the comments down below. If you're like, Nez, I want to know your exact setup. I want to know your exact microphone, your exact lighting. I'll do a video on that, and I'll share that for sure. But I really don't want this show, especially because the title is How to Start a Talk Show Online. I don't want the tech to be a barrier in the beginning. I don't want that to have anything to do. How are we doing on LinkedIn? Is it still freezing? Somebody Somebody give me a comment here on LinkedIn. Let me know what's going on. Is it still cutting out, LinkedIn? Let me know if you're there on LinkedIn, because it looks like it froze a couple of times. And YouTube, you guys are doing okay, huh, YouTube? Jay says, I'm 18 and a big dreamer because that I've been told many times I wasn't good enough. So I also told myself I wasn't good enough, which has put me into a dark mental space for years now. You know, it's interesting, Jay. A lot of people who are big dreamers, you know, I want to share a quote with you, and maybe this will help you. And I would definitely love for you to check out some of my mindset mastery videos. I think they'll really help you a lot. But Jay, I want to share this quote with you. As a matter of fact, I want to make sure that I get it right. So I'm going to actually look up the quote. Do you know, Jay, who Albert Einstein is? Do you know, Jay, who Albert Einstein is? Let me know if you know who Albert Einstein is in the chat. Who is Albert Einstein? Well, check this out. So here's a quote that I want to share with you that was originated with Albert Einstein. Okay, I'm going to share this quote with you. He says, Albert Einstein, the great scientist, he says, great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. The mediocre mind is incapable of understanding the man who refuses to bow blindly to conventional prejudices and chooses instead to express his opinions courageously and honestly. Great spirits and minds have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. Don't ever forget that, Jay. This is about, you know, having perspective and understanding. It's really all about perspective. Let me tell you why. These people who actually dare to cut down your dreams are just unhappy people. They're failures themselves. They're people who are trying to cope with all sorts of inner demons and psychological shortcomings. These are not, because anybody who's successful, anybody who's happy with their life would never dare cut somebody else down. People who are happy and successful want other people to be happy and successful because they know that it's contagious. They know that the more people that are happy and successful around them, the more happy and successful they'll be. So again, I say it's a win-win. It's a litmus test. If you're surrounded, because I've actually done videos on this about your social circles and who you surround yourself with. And I'd really love for you to check them out, Jay, because I think they're just really going to help you. It has nothing to do with, you know, having to check out my channel. Forget that. It's not about being promotional here. Just honestly saying that I think it would be helpful. You know, it's a win-win. It's a litmus test. The more that you express yourself truthfully, the people that matter will encourage you, and the people that don't matter will try to cut you down. So here's the cool thing is you'll be able to identify both parties by diving deep into your chest and bringing out your best self, bringing out your true self. The people who matter are going to appreciate that. The people you want to be around are going to appreciate that. The people who try to cut you down, those are the people that you know you shouldn't be surrounding yourself with. So it's a beautiful litmus test. The more you're you, the right people come and the wrong people leave, period. So I hope that helps, Jay. I mean, I hope that makes sense. And I think how does this relate to starting a talk show? I think it's everything. And the reason why I think it's everything is because I know that Jay is not alone. Jay, you're actually very courageous, and I actually appreciate you bringing that up because I know that a lot of people don't start building their brand. They don't start creating content. They don't start a podcast or a YouTube channel or what have you because of the fear of judgment, because of the fear of what other people will think. And, that's natural. It's okay. First of all, you're not alone. I want to say there's nothing wrong with having anxiety. I hate this sort of fake Instagram advice that everybody should be happy little, rosy rainbows and unicorns and everything is pineapple and yachts. No, it's not. It's okay to feel suffocated. It's okay to feel oppressed. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel, nervous and anxietal about judgment. That's just part of being a human being. But here's the cool thing is you're only 18, and I promise you this. There's a lot of people my age in the chat right now. I promise you this, Jay. It gets better and better and better. Whoever told you that getting older sucks is a complete idiot. I think getting older rocks. You get way more comfortable. I think we truly get into our prime in our late 30s, 40s. We truly get into our prime as a human being. It gets better and better. Human beings are like wine. We get better with age. You get more comfortable in your own skin, and you give less of an F about what other people think. So just be patient. Keep working. Keep trying to discover who you are. You're very, very young. You've got so much time ahead of you, and I promise you it'll work out. I guarantee you it will work out. Yeah, but it's easy to say, Flash. It's easy to say. I mean, that's what I'm saying, though. And Flash, I know you don't mean it this way. It's easy to say screw what they think and, forget what they think. And why do you care what other people think? What's wrong with you? I don't believe in that. I think it's totally natural to care what other people think. And I don't think there's anything wrong with caring what other people think. And you can't just snap yourself out of it. It's like the same thing they tell with people with anxiety. It's all in your head, man. That's BS. It's not all in your head, okay? It's a real thing. It's a real feeling. And it's a part of the process. It's a part of the evolution. And so it gets better. It gets a lot better. Just keep plugging away. Keep soldiering on. Keep an open mind and an open heart. And maybe even, dare I say, forgive the people who are judging you. Forgive the people who are trying to shoot you down and trying to undercut your dreams, because really those are just miserable, unhappy people, and they need help. And you can't beat darkness with darkness. You can't beat hate with more hate. You got to turn on the light. Turn on that inner light and watch what happens. Ankur Sani, good to see you, Ankur. Rainbows and unicorn remind me, I don't know what that part says. Ankur, good to see you, Ankur. Anybody have any questions about the topic today, how to start a talk show online, building your personal brand in 2020. Why I think this is the simplest and maybe fastest. I got to get going here pretty soon, but why I think this is maybe the simplest and maybe the fastest way to build your brand online without having to worry about creating new stuff every single week or every single month or every single whatever your frequency is. Does anybody have... No, I totally do, Flash. I totally, absolutely do. Yeah, that's another thing too. It's about perspective. It's about perspective. And Jay, it's going to get better. I promise you, Jay. If you're still there, I promise you, it's going to get better. It gets better. 18 is a funky age. Teenage years, even early 20s. It's an age of discovery. You still don't even know who you are, and that's okay. Nobody did. I dare you to find anybody who knew who they were at 18 or 19. So don't worry about that, okay? It's going to get better and better and better. Encore says, I want to make a YouTube channel. Then make one. What's stopping you? You're a front-end developer. Guess what? If you're looking for remote work, A, I can help you because I'm an executive career coach for LinkedIn and a personal branding coach. But B, you don't need my help. If you start creating content that serves a very specific audience whose problems your content can solve, and you do that on a high volume, high frequency rate, it has to be consistent, you will three-dimensionalize who you are and watch the opportunities start streaming in. Watch this waterfall of opportunities start pouring all over you. It will happen. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of, sacrifice, but it will happen. I am living proof that this stuff works. I'm not basing this on what I heard from somebody else. I'm not basing this on what the entire internet. You ever notice this though, John, you do it. You might notice this. I was talking to Neil about this not long ago. A lot of these YouTube gurus now are talking about personal branding this and personal branding that. I'm starting to notice a lot of people on Twitter. A lot of personal branding videos are coming out. I've been talking about this for years, right? Now all of a sudden you've got a lot of people start talking about, it's important to build your personal brand. By the way, it's important to build your personal brand. Yeah, you better believe it is. I'm actually really happy that they're spreading the word because it's very, very important. So Encore, what's stopping you from creating a YouTube channel? Create one. Matthew says, make cheap videos to learn how to do it. Yeah. I mean, another thing too is a great way is Twitter audio is a great way to practice a show, and Instagram Live is a great way to practice a show. Stories, because stories are really cool, because stories that you do on Snapchat and Instagram, it's good practice. I truly feel that these are the future job skills, being able to speak, communicate, provide value through video, through audio, through content. These are the future skills. And I don't care what industry you're in. You're in tech, you're in programming, you're in coding, you're in insurance, you're in medical, healthcare, finance. You need to know how to do this stuff because your competition is already creating content. I guarantee you right now, go on YouTube, whatever niche you're in, whatever expertise you're in. Maybe you're an enterprise finance professional. Maybe you're a project manager. Maybe you're a career coach. Maybe you're an online marketer. Maybe you're a chef. Maybe you're a plumber. Well, we know of a famous plumber. I don't care what niche you're in. If you go on YouTube, your competitors are creating content. There's a YouTube channel, okay, about your expertise, about your specific ethos and your credibility, and they're creating content. What about you? What about you? You need to be doing the same thing. If not louder, if not stronger, if not more valuable, if not now, when? If not now, when? John says, I wish I realized. Yeah, John, absolutely. I wish I realized the importance of personal brand 15 years ago. It's never too late. And John, you're doing a fantastic job. John has a great personal brand, and he is just an all-around awesome dude. It's so nice to see you here, John. By the way, have you guys been smashing the smash button? I hope you have. Please do so. Who's the famous plumber? You want to tell him, Neil? Watch how many people are going to respond. Who's the famous plumber? This is personal branding personified. Watch. Who's the famous plumber? There you go. That's just one response. Roger Wakefield. There you go. The expert plumber. He goes live on LinkedIn at least once a week. He is crushing it. I think his YouTube channel just passed 10,000 subscribers. He is absolutely blowing it up. He's doing an amazing job. Yes, Matthew, that is great advice. How are we doing on LinkedIn? Is it still freezing up? Bring guests on. Start a podcast. Start a video podcast. Bring guests on that can solve the problems that your audience pain points need solving. Build your reputation. Build your thought leadership. Build your ability to provide value. Three-dimensionalize who you are. Even if you're somebody who is just looking to boost your career or elevate your career, this will help you. Because imagine if I'm going to pick a VP of, a director of operations, and I've got Jim over here who's not doing anything, but he just has a resume. But I've got Matthew Mitchell over here who's got a LinkedIn page that personifies, unbelievable, undeniable value. He's got videos, he's got articles, he's got a podcast where he interviews guests, other COOs, other directors of operations, how to streamline processes, how to vet people, how to make sure that, you're reducing costs and you're not raising the bottom. I mean, there's so much. Who am I going to pick? I'm going to pick the dude who's creating content. I'm going to pick the dude. I'm picking Matthew Mitchell. That's what I'm doing. Think about that, y'all. This stuff works. I came up with several case studies of how I was able to sell very high-ticket coaching packages just by people listening to a podcast, just by people watching a video I made years ago, just by people checking out an Instagram post, just by people checking out an article I wrote 5 years ago. Three-dimensionalize who you are. Humanize your brand. I don't want to sound cocky. That already sounds cocky. Charlie dog. But if people are watching what I do and copy me, then I must be doing something right. People are getting the exact camera I have. Let's see this. I want to bring this comment up. Midnight Madness. Why are these comments so huge? What's up with you, Ecamm? Let's see what Charlie Dog says. Charlie Dog says, I don't want to sound cocky, but if people are watching what I do and copy me, then I must be doing something right. People are getting the exact camera Watch where I decide to record and will. Record right beside me, and no one was interviewing tough truck drivers until I started. That's, hey, what do they say, imitation is the highest form of flattery, I guess. Is that what they say? Yeah, absolutely. Let them copy you. So what? You've got timestamps on all your content. Everybody knows when I publish my personal branding videos. It's so funny because here's a perfect example, Charlie Dog. And I'm going to be honest, I was just like livid. Well, not livid, but I was kind of like, oh man, look at this. Everybody started jumping on the LinkedIn video bandwagon in like 2019. When LinkedIn video, native video came out in 2017, if you go back to my channel and you type in, actually, you might even be able to type it in the search bar, why LinkedIn video is important. If you look at the publish date, it was something like May 2017 or something like that. I published a video when LinkedIn native video first came out. I did an entire video on my YouTube channel titled Why LinkedIn Video is Important for You and Me. I don't know if I added the for you and me, but that has a timestamp, published in 2017, early 2017 too. And then all of a sudden in 2019, everybody's like, oh, LinkedIn's a great place to create video. Well, yeah, I've been doing it for 2 years. Before y'all, who's the original LinkedIn lover? Okay, that didn't sound good, sorry. How do they know? I work in a company that only does 2 things, fix vacuums and sells it through Amazon and social media. How do they know? Mitchell, clarify your question. Are you asking me how are they going to know who you are? Or are you asking me, what are you asking me specifically, please? Clarify that. I work in a company that only does 2 things, fix vacuums and sells it through Amazon. Well, then create content about fixing vacuums. Create content. Here's 5 things you can do to fix your vacuum when you release a video. I'll give you 10 ideas right now. Are you ready? Hey, Matthew, write these down. Your first video. Here's 3 things you shouldn't do to keep your vacuum over time. 5 tips to, here's 5 tips I'm going to share with you on how to sell vacuums on Amazon the right way. Here's 3 things I'm going to share with you. In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 things, 3 tools I use that help me fast track my vacuum repairs. There's a million ideas, Matthew, and you 3-dimensionalize that. Then they're like, wow, this guy, then here's the cool thing. The byproduct of that is it may not be the focus is the 3 tools or the 5 vacuum fixes. It's your energy. It's your vibe. It's your personality. It's who you are. Remember, people don't buy your credentials. They buy your energy. So you're 3-dimensionalizing rather than just telling them who you are, that I fix vacuums and sell them on Amazon. You're showing them. Does that make sense? There was a facile, let me see, LinkedIn lover. What the hell does that mean? Yeah, it is flattering. Yeah. Urban Explorer says there was a facile channel last week, hit 4 million subs. Wow. Yeah, look at you do it. Look at that. Yeah, 30 videos on fixing vacuums over the next 3 months. You'll become the owner of fixing them. You see that? Take it from John. Take it from you do it. This guy is a YouTube powerhouse. He is a content creating machine. Don't take it from me. This is the beautiful thing when you come join a Nez Nation live stream. You get all these amazing creators, live streamers, podcasters, video creators. You get all these amazing people that can help you. It's not just Nez, which that should really be enough. But you also get, the glasses are coming off. You also get this amazing crew. Who could ask for anything more? And then check it out, Matthew. Then you do a podcast. Then you look, I've got your entire year of 2020 planned, Matthew, and it's all for free. You don't have to pay me a penny. Then what you do, Matthew, is you release a podcast or a talk show where you bring on other people who sell vacuums or fix vacuums on Amazon. And how do they do it? What are their best tips? What are their best strategies? How do you streamline? How do you make it go better, more effectively, more smoother? How do you make increased sales? How do you make the process go a lot smoother? You've got all these guests that you can bring on, other people in your niche. Niche. Give me a number 1 if you think it's niche, and give me a 2 if you think it's niche. Type in 1 in the chat if you think it's niche. That's how you pronounce it. Type in 2 in the chat if it's niche. Which one how do you guys pronounce it? 1 for niche, 2 for niche. Let me know in the chat. 1 for niche, 2 for niche. Personally, I kind of like niche. I don't like niche. I mean, Matthew, I've got your entire 2020 calendar. It's over. I've got your entire 2020 calendar. It's over. It's all over. You're welcome, sir. Okay, Matthew says 1. What was 1 again? One was niche, right? Who thinks it should be 2, niche? Self-publishing with Walter Wayburn. How you doing, Walter? Good to see you. Welcome. Flash says 1, niche. Walter says 2, niche. Super Dave says 2, niche. I like niche. I just like saying it. I don't know. It's just fun to kind of say that word. Niche. Car Galaxy Studios. How are you, sir? Welcome to the live stream chat. We're talking about how to start a talk show online that's going to build your brand for 2020 and beyond. Now, Car Galaxy Studios, let's do some case studies. Let's do some real-time coaching right now. Now, Car Galaxy Studios, what is your channel specifically about? What niche or niche is your channel all about? And then I'm going to break down a talk show, a great talk show that Car Galaxy Studios could do. And by the way, if you already do a talk show, I apologize. I should subscribe to it immediately. But let me know if you do a talk show or if you don't do a talk show. I mean, Neil, here's a perfect example. Neil, with his Urban Explorer, the van life. I mean, Neil, you could do an amazing. You're welcome, Matthew Mitchell. You could do an amazing podcast, and I've actually. It's such a no-brainer for Neil with his awesome voice. I use Neil's voice as the intro to my podcast. Now, I take my podcast very seriously. I take my content it's my brand. I wouldn't have somebody be my intro bumper if I didn't have extreme respect and an extreme, amount of interest and love for their voice and what they can bring to the table. And so Neil is the intro to my podcast. Neil's got a voice from God. It's a fantastic voice. And I'm not just talking about the accent, brother. I'm not just talking about the accent. I'm talking about everything. The cadence, the delivery, the bass, the presence, the incantation, everything about your voice is very powerful. I could listen to your voice all day, and I think it's a no-brainer for Urban Explorer to have a podcast show where he brings on, how about that YouTuber who went viral? Janine or Janelle or something like that, the van life YouTuber who went crazy and got 1 million subs in like 2 days or something. I mean, you could bring on other van enthusiasts, other van life, connoisseurs or activists or van life, participants. Bring them on your show, and that's content. You're building content. And Neil, correct me if I'm wrong, but you still have your voice business, right? Where you're selling your services as a voiceover artist. I mean, dude, what's a better demonstration of how kick-ass your voice is than hosting a talk show that demonstrates it 3-dimensionally? You're not just telling people you have a good voice, you're showing them you have a good voice. I mean, how killer is that? I mean, Neil, obviously I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I think that's a great idea. Neil says, once I get 1,000 subs, but my problem is time. I don't have enough time. Yeah, I mean, time is the ultimate commodity. That's right. Matthew says, Timothy Ferriss does this a lot. Yeah, I mean, Tim Ferriss has one of the most monetizable, popular podcast next to Joe Rogan. I mean, Tim Ferriss is all over the place. Absolutely. Urban Explorer. Yeah, I like that. I like that, Neil. I actually like that. Bringing on making sure you're focusing on your channel right now. I love that. And go check out Neil's channel too. It's an awesome channel. I mean, I've told me and Neil we go back a ways, and I talked to him about my childhood and how me and my family every single vacation. The van was like the van was like a metaphor for our the van was like our spirit animal, man, or something. I don't know. The van was like home to us. So I have a real love of the road and a real love of the family type van that carried you from destinations where you build memories. I just love that. Very nice. You have 8 to do before you leave for LA. Good. That means business is good. I love hearing that. Car Galaxy Studios. Which one though? He's got 3. It's more a raw free-for-all. Creator Chaos is sort of a talk show, but not in the same... Creator Chaos is a great talk show. Absolutely. And yes, you're right, Matthew Mitchell on LinkedIn, bringing on guest speakers all the time. As a matter of fact, I think he had Neil deGrasse Tyson. So did Joe Rogan. Had Neil deGrasse Tyson on very recently. I mean, look at Joe Rogan podcast. I mean, this is an extreme example, but I mean, dude... Joe Rogan is not really that famous before his podcast. He was an okay comedian who had a couple of shows that did really well on TV, but got canceled, like Fear Factor. But he wasn't like a celebrity. He wasn't like a movie star. But his podcast was so down to earth and so fun to listen to. And he really found his calling. And now it's like he's making, 7 figures on that podcast alone. And he's getting more gigs. He's getting more stand-up gigs. He's filling out more halls, more theaters, more concert venues because of that. Okay, I will. Thank you so much, Neil. Jay, you are absolutely welcome, my friend. And you are welcome here anytime. And DM me if you ever have any other questions that maybe you don't feel comfortable asking on the air. I'm happy to help, brother. I would love to help you, and I'd love to talk to you, and just a real pleasure, man. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you more on the channel. I hope you hit that subscribe button, and I hope you listen to the podcast too. By the way, Jay, before you leave, I have some great long live streams about mindset, mental health help, anxiety with content creators, panic attack, anxiety, depression help. I've got a lot of podcast episodes. Just go to any of these guys, Spotify, Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. Go check them out. Yeah, Creator Chaos is awesome. I just meant the vibe is not the same as podcast or standard talk show. I think actually Creator Chaos would make an awesome podcast. Neil, if you strip the audio on all of those live stream shows and put them in a podcast, I think that would be, you might even get way more traction and way more brand awareness. But that's not really the point of Creator Chaos. Creator Chaos is one of the most fun hangouts. It's very loose. I love it. Unfortunately, I'm teaching classes now on Tuesday nights, so I can't make it to the stream. But keep sending me that link because one of these days I want to jump back on there. I love Creator Chaos. It's a fantastic. Reminds me of the Blab days, early 2015, before Periscope and Facebook Live. Blab was a community of live streamers and a community of. Is it still freezing for you, Vasilios? I don't know. There's a couple other people going live at the same time. I wonder if that has something to do with it. But it might. I'm not sure. It might. Let me see. That's very strange. Keep me queued in here, okay? Vasilios, keep me queued in here. So yeah. So I think that if you're struggling to find ideas, if you're struggling to create content, if you're still struggling to understand that building a personal brand, it's not about logos, it's not about colors, it's not about fancy graphic design. It's about getting your message out there to the world so people understand you, so people can say, oh, I can relate to this individual, this person, or this a business. It's about three-dimensionalizing your presence. People don't buy your credentials, they buy your energy. This is the greatest way of displaying that, okay? So you don't have to worry about constantly coming up with new content ideas. If you have guests, what did we decide on? Did we say niche or niche? Niche? Let's do this poll one more time. Put a 1 in the chat if you think it's niche. Put a 2 in the chat if you think it should be niche. Oh, look who's here. Miss Hermit herself. Oh, look who it is. Somebody who never, ever shows up on my live stream, even though I'm on her live stream every day. I don't know what to call you anymore. Is it the real estate whisperer? Are you still the real estate whisperer? Are you going to whisper in my ear something about real estate? I have to give Christina a hard time. We give each other hard times all the time. That sounds weird. We give each other hard times all the time. What is it? Give me a 1. Okay, give me a 1 if it's niche. Give me a 2. Or no. Sorry. Give me a 1 if it's niche. Give me a 2 if it's niche. As Pat Flynn says, the riches are in the niches. He's going to be speaking at VidSummit, by the way. A lot of people here in the chat going to VidSummit. I'm very, very excited. Yeah, I don't know, Vasilios. I don't know what's going on with LinkedIn. It is kind of acting funky. Anything else? I can't believe this. I've been on here for 2 hours. Anything else? Anything else that we have not talked about? How to start a talk show online, getting your personal brand ready for 2020, three-dimensionalizing who you are. I came up with a ton of case studies, a ton of examples, how I've been able to build and accrue major clients, major revenue with my personal brand, advance my career. Actually, you know what? Especially for those of you on LinkedIn and those of you who don't have a business or not really trying to monetize your channels or your brand or your content, I get all sorts of offers to teach. Here's another thing too. One of my revenue streams is speaking gigs. I'm a professional speaker. I get offers when they see my videos, when they see my live streams, especially here on LinkedIn. I've gotten great offers. Hey, can you come speak at our conference? Hey, can you come speak at our organization? I did a special presentation at WebEx, which, WebEx is not really a video conferencing cloud tool that I use. I use Zoom. But WebEx hired me recently to talk about personal branding with their media team. Very recently. That was a really great paying gig. This stuff works. I cannot, be more emphatic. I'm not doing this for kicks and giggles. I'm not telling you this over and over just because for my own health. This stuff works. I want you to be able to do what you want to do. I want you to stay relevant in the 21st century. Personal branding is synonymous with 21st century communications. Period. That's it. Period. Yes, you can. Matthew Mitchell on LinkedIn says, can you do a podcast on a phone? Yes, absolutely you can. Absolutely you can do a podcast on a phone. Okay, so we got some 1s for niche. Neil says 1. Okay, Kakashi. Yes, Kakashi, how are you? Good to see you. I do remember that. Absolutely. Any 2s? So it's not niche, it's niche. Is that right? Okay, cool. So I think we've got that figured out. Forward. No, forward. I am not ignoring you. How are you? I got your message. Sorry. Good to see you. Yes, Kakashi, I remember you. Fullerton, right? We talked at Cal State Fullerton, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's good to see you. It's good to have you. Yes, you can do a podcast on a phone. As a matter of fact, I will leave you a link in the description to Anchor, which is where I host my podcast. You can create an entire podcast in minutes on your phone. I mean, obviously, if you pre-recorded it somewhere else, but you could actually record everything. It's so easy to use. And if I don't have a link in my description right now, I will definitely leave a link there down below for Anchor. And by the way, guys, this is another don't forget this. these are a lot of these things are just a Google search away. Okay, so I'm not really getting into the kind of weeds with the technical aspects of it, just because I feel that the main things that are stopping people are the misunderstanding and really the kind of, I'm trying to demystify what personal branding is, and just trying to convey not only the significance, the importance, but from somebody who's hosted many talk shows, many podcasts, I think this is one of the best ways to build your brand fast, and dare I say, maybe even in the least, the least difficult. I don't want to say easy, because it's definitely not easy, but maybe the least difficult. Oh, okay, Forward. Thank you so much. Yes, Forward. No, we talked on YouTube comments. Okay, very cool. Thank you so much. Sorry, my memory's a little froggy. I apologize. But yes, no, I do remember. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And I've got a whole bunch of other videos that are related to that Forward that I think you're going to really get a lot out of. Don't forget, a lot of this stuff is just a Google search away. Don't ever forget that, okay? A lot of this stuff is just a Google search away. Okay, guys? Well, hey, we've been on for 2 hours. Holy macadamia nut. That's a really, really long time. So I have got to get going. My wife's going to kill me right now. I need to help out with the kids. But hey, I just want to say how much I appreciate you guys. I want to say thank you so much for joining me here live today. Now, I've been kind of experimenting with this time, Thursdays, 4:30-ish, 5-ish. I'm not going live on Sundays anymore. That was our original weekly schedule, but Sundays are no good for me anymore. I apologize if that time was perfect for you. I kind of like the idea of going live in prime time. I kind of do. So I'm still experimenting. I don't know if Thursday is going to be the day. So this is why, if you're on LinkedIn, make sure you follow the hashtag NezNation. If you're on YouTube, you need to hit subscribe and hit that bell, because every time you hit that bell, you're going to get all the information you need when I go live, all the notification that you need when I go live. And then make sure that you subscribe and follow on the other platforms as well. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitch. I'm on Periscope, Twitter. I'm Professor Nez all across the board. And you won't miss out on any live stream at all. And go subscribe to the podcast too. Nez Nation Live, the Personal Branding 101 podcast. We're everywhere. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Google Podcasts. We're on Stitcher. Does anybody really listen to Stitcher? I really don't. I'm usually an Apple dude. But make sure you go listen to the podcast. And I'm going to keep bringing it. I'm going to keep bringing the heat every single week. I create mindset and messaging videos helping you to build your online reputation, get yourself out of your way so you can earn more, grow faster, and stress less. It is I, Professor Nez, your personal branding coach. I love you guys. So good to see you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks, y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.